Well, just a few final thoughts about TAPIT conference. We met a couple of weeks ago in Nashville, and it's hard to describe how great it was. We had about 73 people together, both virtually and in person. We had two great speakers. Do you want to tell us a little bit more about it, Barbara?
Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit more about the court interpreter section. The key speaker, Giovanna, was amazing. And I heard some of her keynote thoughts about interpreting, about thinking fast and thinking slow and different research. We had a federal interpreter who's also coordinates interpreters for the state of Arkansas. He came and spoke about ballistics and even brought in, I don't know how he got it through security, but he snuck in a little plastic gun and shot off uh, a few little rounds in the room. But we all survived that and learned a lot of terms. Janice Palma, who is also a longtime federal interpreter, she talked about the linguistic defense, about how to defend your renditions if needed, if you're challenged. She talked about how we interpret meaning, not just word for word. She also gave a talk, a 2-hour talk on taking accuracy to the next level, which I thought was amazing also. She talks about how one thing that differentiates us from AI is our voices, our modulation. If we sound like a robot, that's not good. So when we're interpreting on the witness stand, for instance, we need to remember inflections, emotions, volume, and not talk like a robot, or we are worse than AI. She
But
said,
we had also another a whole new different sections for medical interpreters, right? Richard, you want to tell us about the medical interpreter track?
I think the presentation by Blanca Martinez on palliative care for children was very emotional at some points. She shared some of her personal experiences. Then we had a session on informed consent by Bruni. And I love that she gave a really deep historical background on the idea of consent. She talked about the example of Henrietta Lacks, which, even though it did not involve an interpreting component, it was a very clear example where you can see what happens when there is no informed consent. We had a session by Giovanna on the ethical edge, and again, connected to this conversation that we're having in the profession about AI and how it is a useful tool, but there are also many things that cannot, at least for now, be replaced, and how the interpreter making decisions to communicate things in a particular way and adding that human touch makes a difference when interpreting. And then we had a great session about CAT tools by John Mark. So I think it was very useful for participants to get a little sneak peek of what is involved when using those tools. And of course, it would be great to go even deeper when using that. And that also incorporates machine learning and machine translation, which are like adjacent fields to AI that have proven to be very useful.
Well, on Friday, we had a pre-session this year, and boy, that was amazing. Giovanna was teaching us how to use site translation to improve both consecutive and simultaneous. That was a 3-hour long hands-on training, and it was really, really good. Before that, also, we had a prelude this year, a little bit of touching up on these ethical dilemmas and not the role of AI, because, of course, 10 years ago, we didn't even envision there was going to be AI. but we found a presentation by Ardis Nelson from a TAPIT conference in, I think it was in 2016, where she compared the codes of ethic for medical and legal interpreters or judicial interpreters. And believe it or not, is actually valid today because the codes of ethics do not change that often. And that was the launch of the scholarship season for this year. We have two scholars that have gotten the scholarships, and that will be announced on the newsletter pretty soon. One of the most expected topics of the conference was the panel. And David, can you tell us about the panel?
One of my tasks for this conference was to plan and moderate our language access panel, and this was our first attempt at gathering representatives from the three branches of Tennessee government to share our concerns and some issues that we encounter regarding language access and working conditions for language professionals in Tennessee, and also to hear from them their perspectives, how our concerns might be addressed. So this was a good step in establishing and continuing dialogue with the policymakers that affect our work and our accessibility by the people and institutions that we serve. We had good input from the officials as well as from our guest panelists, and came away with an open door to continue moving forward in our advocacy efforts. And we look forward to building upon this at next year's conference and at other TAPIT meetings in the meantime. So stay tuned and be ready to jump in and participate.
And what is a conference without food, right? Can you
Right.
tell us what did we do this year for food?
Well, our attendees enjoy a diverse variety of delicious food options throughout the whole event, from breakfast to dinner. Everybody enjoy it. The food kept us energized during the whole conference. We had plenty of coffee, which was very important too. And overall, the conference successfully celebrated our shared commitment to language access. And it strengthened our relationships as interpreters. We came along, got together, did a lot of networking. We had time for that too. And that was very important to see us, united this time. It was a great event.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun on Saturday night. Um, Altogether, it was a great, great experience for those of us who were organizing the conference. We have a really good reviews and a lot of hopefully more people willing to help us to organize 2026 TAPIC conference. The final thought of this year, we were talking about navigating the evolving language, the evolving landscape of language services. I think the conference really helped us to ground us again, finding, our compass, as you can see in the background. Everybody who was in the conference got a little compass, and I keep mine with me. I take it to court so that we don't lose our north. Thank you for coming to TAPIT conference.